Hey all, welcome to Homeschool. We are with the third session on a chapter Elements, Compounds and Mixture. So in the previous videos, we have discussed entire things about the pure substances, that is nothing but element and compound. And later we spoke about the mixture, different kinds of mixtures, isn't it? And today we are going to separate the components of mixture by various physical methods, right? Say I told you the components of mixture do not have chemical bonds between them. So you can easily separate them by physical methods. So those physical methods, separating methods of the constituents or the components of a mixture, we are dealing today, right? And see here, on what basis we select a particular method depends on certain factors. Clear? So what I'm going to write here is separation of constituents of mixture. Constituents of mixture always depends on two factors. Depends on, the first one is it depends, it is based on physical state of constituents. Like the mixture can have two or more constituents. Say sometimes the separation method to be selected can depend on the physical state of constituent. That means whether a constituent particle is there in a solid state or a liquid state. Say if one constituent particle is a solid, the other one is a liquid, easily you can separate, isn't it? Right? And if both the components are solid, then what method we have to select? So the separation method to be selected sometimes depends on, not sometimes, most of the times depends on the physical state of constituents. Okay? And later, it also depends on physical properties of constituent particles. Okay, what do you mean by physical properties? Say each and every constituent particle has its own properties. Say if you can know what properties does the constituent particles have, you can easily select a particular method to separate the constituents. Okay, so now let us try to understand what are these physical properties, right? See, the physical property can be density of a substance. So imagine, what do you mean by density? In a simple words, density is nothing but heaviness. It is a measure of heaviness of a substance. Say if one constituent particle is more heavy, the other one is less heavy. If one is having more density, the other one is less denser. Then based on the density variation, you can able to select a method that can separate, the constituent particles of a mixture easily. Isn't it? So the one physical property we always consider to separate, to think of the separation of the components of a mixture is this density, right? And the second one is solubility. Imagine if one component is soluble in water, the other component is not soluble in water, then easily you can separate the components, right? So based on the solubility also, we can able to separate the components of a mixture. Clear? And the third one is melting points and boiling points. Right? Say one component has a boiling point around 50 degrees centigrade. The other component has a boiling point around 100 degrees centigrade. If this much difference is there in the boiling points of components, you can easily separate them, guys. Right? Based on some separating technique, which is depending on the temperature. You can select that particular method to separate the components of a mixture. Clear? So melting and boiling points is another physical property we consider to separate the components of a mixture. Fine. And the next one is, ability to sublime. Ability to sublime. So what do you mean by sublimation? Sublimation in the sense solid directly getting converted into gas. Imagine in a mixture, if one of the component has a ability to sublime, has a ability to undergo sublimation, you can consider that property also to separate the components of a mixture by doing some experiment based on sublimation. Clear? Fine. And the next one is ability to volatile. Ability to volatile. So what do you mean by volatile? Volatile in the sense easily evaporates. Easily evaporates into atmosphere. Say if one component easily evaporates into atmosphere, other component is less volatile. That means does not easily evaporates into atmosphere. You can able to separate based on this property, based on this variation of components in the property, you can able to decide a suitable method to separate the components of a mixture. Okay, so whenever you want to separate the constituents or components of a mixture, you should keep these things in mind. You have to check the physical properties of components. Okay, say based on the density variation you can separate, based on the solubility nature you can separate, based on their boiling melting points, based on their volatility. These things will help us to separate the components of a mixture easily by selecting a suitable method, right? So this is some general idea behind the separation of the constituents of a mixture, like on what basis we separate the constituents of a mixture. In the sense, this basis, this is the way. These are the things we will keep it in our mind before we separate the components of a mixture. So now we are going to study the different methods. See, keeping these things in our mind, we are studying different methods of separating components of a mixture by taking a particular example. So let us study those methods one by one in detail. Clear? Coming to the first separation method, see, we are going to learn how to separate the components of a mixture by using solvent. By using solvent. So the best solvent we select is water. So here solvent is nothing but water. Solvent is any liquid. So with the help of certain liquid, we can able to separate the components of a mixture. Clear? And this method is purely based on, it is purely based on solubility of components. Yes or no? Solubility of components. Say I will select a mixture in which one of the component can be soluble in water, the other component cannot be soluble in water. See, such mixture can easily be separated with the help of water, that is with the help of a solvent. Clear? Say the example I'll take here is, say I want to separation of NaCl from calcium carbonate. Okay, so what is the mixture I have? I have NaCl mixed with calcium carbonate. Both are white color powders. Okay, say NaCl, I want to get it separated from calcium carbonate. So I can definitely use this method. I can use certain solvent and then separate the components of a mixture. Why I selected this method is because, NaCl is soluble in water. NaCl is soluble in water. Whereas calcium carbonate, this is marble powder. Calcium carbonate is nothing but marble powder. Okay. So this calcium carbonate is insoluble in water. It is not soluble in water. So definitely I can use this method. So what I will do initially is, I will put the mixture in water. In water, what happens? NaCl goes to water. Goes to water. That means it will get mixed up. It will get mixed up or soluble in water, isn't it? Whereas, what happens for calcium carbonate? Calcium carbonate remains insoluble in water. Insoluble in water. Clear? So whatever NaCl is there in a mixture, everything goes into water. It gets nicely soluble in water, but the entire amount of calcium surface will stay on the surface of water because it will not go into the water. It cannot solubilize in water, isn't it? So it stays in the water. So after that, how do we separate that calcium carbonate that is staying in the water? By filtration. Okay. So what I'll write is calcium carbonate is then separated by filtration. So now the big question is, what do you mean by filtration? You know, filtration is nothing but, see, I'm going to write the definition for filtration here. It is nothing but separation of insoluble solid from a mixture through a filter paper. You know, filter paper will actually have small pores, small holes. With the help of filter paper, I can separate that insoluble solid from a mixture. Clear? Say, I will just show what do you mean by a filter paper. See, filter paper looks like this, right? Say, this filter paper, we have to fold. You know, this is one fold. Now I'll fold once again, two folds, right? Say, after folding this way, we get a shape of a cone, isn't it? Say, it will stay in a cone shape. Say, this is how you get a shape for a filter paper. Say, after getting this shape for filter paper, say, imagine this filter paper, we have to keep it in a funnel. Actually, you should keep it in a funnel. Say, we will hold it like this. And imagine this is a solution I want to filter. So, insoluble solid is there. Say, when I pour it like this, the liquid comes down. Yes or no? The liquid comes down and the insoluble solid, you know, it will stick to this filter paper, right? So, this is how we do the filtration. Clear, everybody? Say, with the help of a filter paper, you know, we are going to separate that insoluble solid from a liquid. This is how we are actually separating NaCl from calcium carbonate, right? So what did we do here? Initially, we have put the mixture in water. Sodium chloride dissolves in water, whereas calcium carbonate remains as powder only, right? Insoluble solid. After that, with the help of filtration, with the help of filter paper, we are separating that insoluble calcium carbonate from NaCl, right? Say, this is one simple method of separating components of a mixture. Just by using a solvent, one material, one component dissolves, another component does not dissolve. Later, that is separated with the help of filtration. Clear? So, we will go for the next method. Sedimentation and decantation. See, sedimentation, it's a common word. Yes or no? Many times we do this process. Sedimentation and later decantation. So, first let us try to understand what do you mean by sedimentation. You know, imagine we have a muddy water. Let me go with the example first. Imagine we have a muddy water. Muddy water has the clay, sand, water and everything, right? Say here and there we have, you know, these particles are clay, sand, everything. So these things have been suspended in the water all over the solution, right? The blue color stuff is what? Our clay and sand, which has distributed all over the water in a beaker, right? And if you do not disturb this solution, if you keep it for hours together, what happens after some time is, you will find all that clay, sand and muddy particles, they get settled at the bottom, right? And on top you will have a clear liquid, that is water. Say your water gets separated from that sand and mud, right? When you do not disturb this, when you allow it to settle for some time, then you will see this situation. And this is what we call sedimentation. So how can we define sedimentation? It is a process in which suspension means liquid containing insoluble solid particles is called suspension. So suspension of insoluble solid particles are allowed to stand for some time. You should not disturb them. You should keep it in one place for some time, right? After keeping the suspension for some time without any disturbance, what you will find is, these particles gets settled at the bottom, isn't it? So what I can write here, are allowed to stand for some time, then the insoluble solid particles settle at the bottom, leaving a clear liquid on top. Yes or no? This is what the definition of sedimentation. This process itself we will call it as sedimentation. Okay, and now after sedimentation, whatever insoluble solid particles, that clay, mud, sand, whatever is there, that will come down and settle. No, this is actually called as sediment. Okay, and the clear liquid that you get it on top is called supernatant liquid. So once the sedimentation is over, next thing is we have to separate this supernatant liquid from sediment. Then we get the different components getting separated. Yes or no? See, our main aim is what? Whatever sand, dirt, mud is there in this water, we have to separate. So what we have done, we kept it for some time. Everything came down and settled, that we call it as sediment, and the pure water we have to separate. So how do we do that? By decantation, right? So what I would write here is separation of sediment from supernatant liquid. Supernatant, that means clear liquid, is called decantation. Clear? Just if you pour this liquid to another beaker, you can able to separate that liquid from sediment. Say for example, one simple activity I will show you. See, this is all that sand, mud and clay water. Say here I want to separate the water from all these insoluble solid particles, right? So what I will do is this particular beaker, I will keep it in one corner for a long time. So what happened? So when I kept that beaker for a long time, what happened? This is how I will get. See here, all that sand, mud and dirt, insoluble solid particles settled down at the bottom, and on the top you will have clear liquid, right? So now I have to separate this liquid from that sediment. So that insoluble solid getting settled down at the bottom is called sediment, and the clear liquid on top is called supernatant. So what I will do now, I will separate that sediment from supernatant just by decantation. This is what, see, slowly if you can pour that liquid to another beaker, very slowly if you can pour that liquid to another beaker, see, you can able to separate the components. See, here you got a pure water, isn't it? See, all that impurity, sand, mud, clay, everything is left out in the beaker only, right? This is what we call decantation, sedimentation and then decantation. Clear? Okay, guys. Next method is separation by sublimation method. Okay, we will learn sublimation method. So you all know what do you mean by sublimation, isn't it? Sublimation is nothing but solid directly getting converted into gas is called sublimation. So here I will take an example of, see, I have a mixture of ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride. So what may be the formula of ammonium chloride? NH4Cl is the formula of ammonium chloride. So this ammonium chloride is mixed with sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. What is the formula? NaCl. Okay. See, ammonium chloride has a different property compared to sodium chloride. You know what is the special property of ammonium chloride? This guy has an ability to sublime. It has an ability to sublime. That means it can directly convert from its solid state to gaseous state. Right? So we use this property of ammonium chloride to separate ammonium chloride from sodium chloride. Sodium chloride do not have an ability to sublime. Sodium chloride cannot convert directly from solid state to gaseous state. Only ammonium chloride has that ability to get converted from solid state to gaseous state. So what we will do here is, see, one small experimental setup. From the bottom we should start heating. Say this is the Bunsen burner. From this you get a flame, isn't it? So you get a flame, and this is certain stand. Okay, so here we will keep a bowl. This is a container where you have a mixture of NaCl and ammonium chloride. See, this, let me take it as NH4Cl, and the blue color stuff is what? NaCl. So it's a mixed, NaCl is completely mixed with ammonium chloride. Just for the differentiation purpose, I am showing NaCl with blue pen and ammonium chloride with black. Okay, so as you start heating, say this whole bowl I will cover with a glass, glass funnel. So I'm covering the whole bowl with this glass funnel. So what happens is, the moment you start heating up, okay, ammonium chloride has an ability to convert from solid state to gaseous state, right? So the moment you start heating, the slowly ammonium chloride will slowly evaporate, okay, and these vapors stick onto the glass tube. It will stick onto the glass tube, and once the vapor goes to the glass tube, there it will undergo condensation. That means the gaseous ammonium chloride will again become into solid. So this ammonium chloride, finally it will go to the glass tube in the form of gas. There it again undergoes solidification. That means the gas directly becomes solid. Okay, see, all ammonium chloride is going up in the gaseous state. There again it is getting converted into solid. This is also sublimation only. Conversion of solid to gas directly or gas to solid. This is what the process of sublimation. Clear? See, and now the entire ammonium chloride would vaporize and it will go and stick to the glass tube, right? And sodium chloride will remain here only. And sodium chloride, since you are heating, no, this solid sodium chloride would have become liquid sodium chloride. Okay, this would have become liquid sodium chloride, and that liquid will stay here only. Only your ammonium chloride will go into vapor. It will go as a vapor, and again there it will solidify back to ammonium chloride solid, and it will stick onto the glass tube. Okay, so this is how with the help of a sublimation property you can able to separate two components, but among the two components one must compulsorily have an ability to sublime. The other component should not have. Only then you can use this method to separate the components. Clear? So this is what we call it as sublimation method. The last method we are going to discuss is by using separating funnel. Using separating funnel. So what do you mean by a separating funnel here? Separating funnel is nothing but a glass tube, specially designed glass tube, okay, which helps to separate immiscible liquids. What do you mean by this immiscible liquids? It's nothing but it's a mixture where both the components are liquids, but these liquids does not mix properly with each other. One liquid doesn't go into another liquid. So the best example for immiscible liquid is mixture of oil and water. Oil and water. Okay, imagine when you put some oil in water and when you shake it, does the oil completely go into the water? Can the oil completely get mixed up with the water? Never, right? So such a mixture is called immiscible mixture or immiscible liquid. Okay, so if you want to separate the oil from water, what you would do? You will use an instrument called separating funnel. You know, how does this separating funnel looks like? I told it's a glass tube, isn't it? Say something like this. It will be there in this particular shape. Here you will have some close knob, okay? And here you will have some tap. Clear? So what we will do is oil plus water mixture, we will take it in this separating funnel. Nicely we will shake it, okay? And we will allow the liquid to stand for some time. Okay, we will not disturb the liquid for some time. When you don't disturb, what happens is, see, just think among the oil and water, which is having more density, which is more heavier? Definitely the water, isn't it? So water has more density. Okay, and oil is less denser. So the liquid whichever is more heavy, more denser will settle at the bottom. And the liquid which is less denser will settle on top. It will remain on top. So here you will keep some beaker. The moment you open the tap, what would happen is all the water will come out into the beaker. Once all the water came out into the beaker, you can tighten the tap so that the oil will remain in a glass tube only. Here, so this is how we are going to separate oil from water.